Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Rishi Sunak, has attacked gender ideology by asserting, quote, "a man is a man and a woman is a woman," adding that such a view is just common sense. Mr Sunak made his comments on Wednesday during his address to the annual Conservative Party conference being held this year in Manchester. He also said that it shouldn't be controversial for parents to know what their children are being taught in school about relationships. In one other development, the National Health Service in England say that people who claim to be so-called transgender will now be given their own rooms in hospitals rather than being placed in wards according to the gender they claim to identify with. Meanwhile, in the US state of Pennsylvania, one school district has passed a new policy mandating that students use bathrooms according to their biological sex. Policy 720 was passed by Perkiomen School District after one parent posted on social media that his daughter was left too upset to go into school toilets after an encounter in a bathroom with a male student who claimed to be female. Leaders of an interfaith group in the Indian state of Manipur are calling for peace between rival factions who've been in conflict over the past 5 months. It was in May that violence first erupted between the majority Meitei community, who are mainly Hindu and make up more than half of the state's population, and the minority Kuki community, who are mainly Christian. Hundreds of churches have been torched in the ongoing violence. Meeting in the city of Guwahati, the Manipur Interfaith Forum for Peace and Harmony brought together leaders of the Kuki and Meitei communities. They agreed that the state of Manipur should make significant efforts to help create peace. The conference also urged local peace negotiations and the widespread distribution of humanitarian aid, including medical aid. Meanwhile, at least 21 people have been killed in India's northeast after heavy rain caused a glacial lake to burst. The resulting flash floods ripped through the Himalayan state of Sikkim on Wednesday, washing away roads and bridges. Over 100 other people are still missing. Cardinal Raymond Burke says that when he and 4 other cardinals formally asked Pope Francis to respond to questions related to the present Synod on Synodality, they were seeking reassurances about the perennial truths taught by the Church and not attacking the person of Pope Francis. Cardinal Burke, who hails from Wisconsin in the US, made his comments at a conference in Rome the day after he made public his questions, also known as a dubia. In response, the Vatican also published the lengthy reply that Pope Francis had written to the cardinals in July when they first posed the questions. The questions raised by the cardinals regarded the interpretation of sacred scripture, the possibility of blessing homosexual unions, the Pope's assertion that synodality is, quote, a constitutive dimension of the Church, the ordination of women, and whether repentance is necessary for a person to receive absolution in confession. The Synod on Synodality will be held in 2 sessions, spaced 1 year apart, the first from October the 4th to the 29th of this year, and the second will take place in October of next year. Meanwhile, the prefect of the Vatican's Dicastery for Communication has been explaining various aspects of the Synod's methodology. Dr. Paolo Ruffini said that the call by Pope Francis for a period of peaceful, respectful listening can help the world on all fronts. The work of the Synod is currently being undertaken by 35 separate working groups. A Russian attack on a village in northeast Ukraine has left at least 51 people dead, including a 6-year-old boy. The strike took place on Thursday when Russian forces shelled the village of Groza in the Kharkiv region, hitting a shop and a cafe. The attack came as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky travelled to Spain in an attempt to garner further support from Western nations at a summit of around 50 European leaders. A drone attack on a military academy in Syria has killed at least 100 people. Both military personnel and civilians, including children, were killed in strikes on the academy in the central province of Homs. At least another 240 others were injured. Syria's defence ministry said the bombings had been carried out by terrorist groups backed by known international forces. The statement did not specify an organisation, and no group has immediately claimed responsibility for the attack. Iran's morality police are being accused of attacking a girl at a metro station in Tehran for not wearing a headscarf. 16-year-old Armita Gravind is currently in a coma in a government hospital in Tehran. Opposition leaders are now demanding that CCTV footage of the alleged encounter be released. Last September, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman, Mahsa Amina, died in police custody after being arrested for improperly wearing a headscarf. Her death triggered massive anti-government protests across Iran. 160 people have been arrested and charged in connection with human trafficking in the US state of Ohio. The arrests were coordinated by the state's Organised Crime Investigation Commission, which is led by the Attorney General, Dave Yost. Over the course of a week, those arrested by Operation Buyer's Remorse included nurses, educators, retirees, former law enforcement officers, self-employed individuals, delivery drivers, and others, all between the ages of 17 and 84. The charges ranged from engaging in prostitution, seeking to have sex with minors, and others for promoting prostitution. A top United Nations official in Sudan is warning that the conflict in the African nation has created the world's fastest growing displacement crisis. The UN humanitarian coordinator in Sudan, Clementine Nkweta Salami, says that the past 6 months have caused untold suffering in the country and forced more than 5.4 million people from their homes. Sudan is currently convulsed by a war between the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, both rival factions of the military government of Sudan. Ms. Nkwete Salami added that half of Sudan's population of about 24.7 million people now require humanitarian assistance and protection. A prominent Nicaraguan scholar has published a news study accusing the country's Sandinista government of ramping up its campaign of religious persecution. Martha Patricia Molina's report is her fourth such study, entitled Nicaragua, a Persecuted Church. The approximately 300-page study suggests that crimes and assaults against the Catholic Church and other Christian groups in Nicaragua are on the increase in recent months. Finally, the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, has been awarded the 2023 In Veritate Award by the Commission of the European Bishops' Conference of the European Union. The organisation say the award is in recognition of Ms Metsola's remarkable achievement in bringing together Christian and European ideals. 44-year-old Ms Metsola is a Maltese politician. She's a member of Malta's Nationalist Party and the European People's Party and has been serving as the President of the European Parliament since January 2022. Well, that's your latest headlines for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.